Why is it that everybody, celebrities, athletes, children's entertainers, all feel so compelled to speak out about the situation in Gaza? And of course, only one-sided. They don't talk about the hostages, they simply talk about what is going on in Gaza, laying all the blame at the feet of Israel. So one has to ask, what is this obsession with Israel? Rather, what is this obsession with demonizing Israel? Now, there are a number of reasons that I believe this is happening, and especially this narrative that somehow the Jews control the world. This frequent mention of Israeli lobbying controlling America, and how Israel, this tiny country of around 8 million people, is controlling the most powerful nation on earth. In fact, for some people, it controls half the world. Now, this really makes me think of something that Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, would say. There is a quote from Joseph Goebbels that is floating around, which is unconfirmed, where essentially he's believed to have said that you have to keep telling the lie, and eventually becomes the truth, or some variation of that. But what is definite is that Goebbels did champion this idea of the big lie. That if you tell a lie so big, so audacious, so crazy, people will actually believe it. So if you say that a tiny population, less than 1% of the world's population, the Jewish people, control the world, it's absolutely ridiculous. But then people believe it. If you say that a country of less than 8 million people, the state of Israel, controls the most powerful country on earth and controls much of the Western world, it's absolutely insane. Yet people believe it. People will share it. Goebbels' big lie really has endured and been championed by a new generation. So it makes sense that people are very quick to speak up against what is going on in Gaza without any sort of consideration for the hostages or why the war started. Because ultimately you get to blame the Jews. You get to blame this tiny population that throughout history have been persecuted, have been attacked, have been murdered. You get to attack them. And this time you can rebrand your anti-Semitism as anti-Zionism. Anti-Semitism truly is a cancer, and it is a spiritual cancer. And this way you can say that you care about humanity while attacking the Jews, and because they're such a small population, you know that the repercussions are minimal. And now you have a woman who has made her name from being a trusted and reliable voice for children, now chiming in. Now she has become a spokesperson for what is going on in Gaza. Now she has become an expert on the topic and feels compelled to speak out, yet has been strangely silent on all these other issues. It reminds me of something that Adolf Hitler said to critics of the Nazis and those who opposed him. That you may oppose me, but we have your children and your children's children. And already we're seeing that brainwashing of propaganda of children. You have somebody who is trusted with children, somebody who's been a figure for so many young children of safety and education and caring. And now they are propagating a certain message, and it's getting louder and louder. But we see how toxic and dangerous this is. And this is why I said it was relevant right now. Because in Minneapolis, at least 2 children are dead because a shooter walked into a church, a Catholic church, and started shooting. Now, I don't want to speculate and spread false rumors, but early images that have been released of one of the firearms that the shooter was carrying had statements such as 6 million was not enough and Israel must fall. So for these influencers and activists, they may think that their words about how the Israeli lobby controls America, the Jews have too much power, the Jews are committing a genocide. So many times anti-Semitic and anti-Israel activists like to say, oh, you support Israel, you are complicit in a genocide. I don't know how many times I have to say this, a genocide is not happening. The statistics, the numbers, the definition do not back that up. This is just a buzzword you're using. It's just a new libel you're using. When people stand up for Israel, they're not standing up against the Palestinians. They're not trying to attack the Palestinians. They're trying to attack terrorism. They're trying to attack Hamas. They're standing up for the right of a Jewish state to defend itself. They're standing up for the hostages to come back. It's not anti-Palestinian. Yet, these so-called pro-Palestinian activists, all their activism is anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. That's why 2 people were murdered in Washington, D.C. That's why synagogues have been attacked and burned. We must do better. And if they are going to continue to propagate and spew lies, we must continue to propagate and speak truth. I ask that we all are united in prayer for the community in Minneapolis who are mourning at this moment, because we saw the very face of evil. This is Kasim Hafiz for the CUFI Weekly. For Zion's sake, do not remain silent. Thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you get a notification every time a new episode hits. And if you want to check out some of our previous episodes, and we've got some really good ones, click on one of the thumbnails and that will take you right there. And finally, if you want to know more about CUFI and the work we do, go to cufi.org to check out all the resources we have available free to you.